Yes!
One Mega Man, two Mega Man, three beautiful blue bombers,
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Completionist. Now before we start today, I just want to make an announcement that we will be at MagFest from January 23rd through the 26th. We will be having a Normal Boots panel on Sunday at 5:30. Times may change and location may change, so be sure to check the website the day of and the weekend of and all that stuff. Are you putting an amiibo in the shot? I'm talking about MagFest right now. Speaking of MagFest, we will also be participating in the Mega Man Marathon. The Mega Man Marathon. No, I think it's the Mega Manathon. The Mega Manathon. I'll be completing Mega Man X and X4 live for charity. Get it out of my face! I'll be completing Mega Man X and X4 live for charity on Friday and Saturday. The Twitch link is right here. And if you get kind of confused, we'll be hosting it as well from twitch.tv/thatonevideogamer. Are you just putting things in the shot? We have a show to do! So then, the Mega Man Anniversary Collection. We're gonna be tackling the first 3 games of this franchise, and we're gonna be coming back to it all year long, especially with its spiritual successor, Mighty Number 9, on the horizon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Mega Man Anniversary Collection.
All-Stars back!
You can't talk about it. You can't complain about it. If it's not here, I'm taking it with me.
I found another one.
God damn it.
All-Stars back!
The Mega Man Anniversary Collection features 8 games from the Mega Man franchise. This pack, released on the GameCube, Xbox, and PlayStation 2, gave everyone a unique opportunity. They can play the somewhat rare and original Mega Man games. Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 for the original Nintendo. They're arguably the most classic games for the system that were not made by Nintendo. Nintendo had the cute game with the jazzy soundtrack about the plumber who eats mushrooms and saves a princess, and Capcom had one with chiptune heavy metal about a robot that destroys other robots with a gun on his arm. Awesome.
But Batman, why did you do Mega Man X before the original Mega Man games? Aren't they just inferior versions of the same thing? And why are you doing 3 at a time? I'm the biggest Mega Man fan of all. Shouldn't you do a full episode on each one? Shouldn't you? Should not you do that? Was that really grammatically correct?
When we started the show with Mega Man X, we did it because it's probably my favorite game series ever, and we had no idea we'd still be doing episodes all these years later. Plus, Mega Man's really hot right now. What with his awesome guest spot in Smash, and again, Mighty Number 9 coming out. Looking at you, Mr. Inafune. I want to complete your game. And honestly, if I did do a full episode on each game, it'd get real boring real fast. None of them really have any sort of serious completion bonus, and the story's almost exactly the same every time. But don't get me wrong, Mega Man games are my games, and we love them all. Well, almost all of them.
Yes, like our own little blue children who jump with their mouths open. Parenting, am I right?
What? So in the interest of completion, before I get into the actual story, the instruction manual for the US version of the game tells its own story, and it's pretty weird. Greg?
Thanks, Shirako. Imagine, if you will, that this was real. Dr. Light and his assistant Dr. Wily were buds who made Mega Man and the 6 other robots in the game. But then, Dr. Wily turns evil and reprograms all the robots besides Mega Man to take over the world. Each robot founded its own sovereign land to make up the empire of Monstropolis. And it's up to Mega Man to bring it down. Monstropolis? Isn't that city from Monsters, Inc.? Mega Man just needs to teach the kids how to laugh.
So now, here's the real story. Dr. Light and Dr. Wily went to the same university, but once Light started making a bunch of incredible technology, Wily became bitter and made a secret lab where he would try to take over the world. One day, Light created Proto Man, the first robot with super advanced AI. He was very independent, and when his power generator malfunctioned, he was worried that repairs would erase his personality, and so he ran away.
That's kind of weird, but I get it. That's exactly how I feel whenever someone tries to repair my power generator.
You have a power generator?
Yes, I call them smoothies.
Dr. Light's next project were 2 assistant robots, Rock and Roll, and when that went well, he made 6 more for other tasks, and all was well, until mean old Dr. Wily stole them and programmed them for evil. Dr. Wily missed Rock and Roll, and when Rock saw what happened, he offered himself to be converted into a weapon. Dr. Light, seeing no other choice, complied, and in the almost year 200X, Rockman was born. But for us in the US, he was known more commonly as Mega Man.
Wow, what a fun little story. Obviously, we overcome the evil, or else there wouldn't be 9 other games. What happened to Wily? Did he get arrested? Killed in an explosion? Did he learn the error of his ways?
Dealing with spoilers, I'll just say this. The plots are very repetitive. For example, Mega Man 2's plot sees the return of Dr. Wily and 8 new robot masters.
What? Get out!
Again, we can just assume from the other titles that Mega Man defeats them all again.
I knew it!
Somewhere in the mix of all of this, Wily tricks everyone to thinking that he's an alien? It gets weird.
Gah, mean old Wily.
From here, Wily says he's seen the error of his ways and teams up with Dr. Light to make Gamma, a giant robot to protect the Earth. Thus, the plot of Mega Man 3 begins. 8 new robots have been flown off to space to get the final materials needed for the design, but for some reason, they've all gone crazy, and Mega Man needs to stop them.
Awesome! I like nice Dr. Wily. Too bad his name sounds so clearly evil, though. Maybe we shouldn't give people with scary last names PhDs.
There's a lot I can say about Mega Man then and now, and about what stacks up and what doesn't, but before I do, let's get one thing straight. Mega Man is a timeless series, and it's hard to separate my honest opinion from all of the nostalgia, but I'm going to do my best.
I bet you're gonna say it's really good.
It is really good. Mega Man is amazing. Look at what Mario and Zelda looked like at the time, and then look back at Mega Man. This is a really unique art style we're talking about here, folks. It has a calculated aesthetic that seems to be inspired by Osamu Tezuka, creator of Astro Boy, and who is basically just the Japanese Walt Disney. Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 ooze style, and they did it in 8-bit.
What? Sorry, I was drinking my power generator. Did you talk about Inafune yet?
I'm getting there, Greg. Greg's talking about Keiji Inafune, considered by many to be the father of Mega Man. The original design for Mega Man, known as Rockman in Japan, was presented to him by his mentor, Akira Kitamura. But Inafune did all the character designs for the game, and even designed the actual pixel-based sprites. Maybe his experience with hand-drawn art is why Mega Man's sprite looks so damn good.
Yep. Still no word on why he opens his mouth every single time he jumps, though.
This also might be why he was able to take such command over the limited 56-color palette of the NES. Maybe it was just that artist's eye. Plus, with each successive entry, everything just kept getting better and better, from the Robot Master designs to my personal favorites, the oversized mini-bosses and Wily sprites.
And don't forget about the music! Across the 3 games, compositions were done by, and I'm gonna botch these all, Yoshihiro Sakaguchi, Takashi Tateishi, Yasukai Fujiti, and Manami Matsume. I made it through. All have super storied careers in game music, but if you recognize Matsume's name, it's because she also did some work for Shovel Knight and Mighty No. 9. She's made some of the most iconic sounding game music in the last 30 years. At the very least, if you don't know Mega Man games, but you know The Completionist, every single episode of our show ends with the iconic song from Mega Man 2. Here I was thinking that music just wrote itself as we ended our shows. Knowledge!
Now there is something funky about the Xbox version of these games. Every now and then the game glitches out visually. These glitches aren't present in the other ports of the collection pack, which is kind of weird, but it still holds up well. The glitches are few and far between. The fact is, Mega Man is one of the games that stands the test of time, and each sequel ups the ante even more. Really, really impressive stuff. I mean, come on. Mega Man. Jump and shoot. Jump and shoot. Jump and shoot.
You're ripping the Figo Raptor!
I was waiting for that. Eagle Raptor did point out how good it feels to jump and shoot as Mega Man. And it's true. Mega Man is a game about jumping and shooting. But here's the thing that's really amazing. The mechanics of Mega Man are so perfectly suited to a game about jumping and shooting that if you're a kid playing it now for the first time, you could do it without anyone telling you how to play it. Think about it. You just figure out bosses on your own, and sometimes you win. This game practically invented learning a boss's pattern.
Gerard, Capcom's lawyers are on the phone right now.
It took some cues from Mario and a few other things, but in the end, the gameplay of Mega Man 1 and 2 is classic and untouchable. Go watch Sequelitis by Eagle Raptor if you want to learn more.
Should I put him on hold, or you want to talk to him?
In fact, the only stuff that isn't universally understood is the stuff that's the weakest. Getting weapons from the bosses you defeat and using them to rock, paper, scissors your way through the game is awesome, but I don't really understand why the weapons have ammo since they're only really super helpful against bosses. E-tanks are sure helpful, but having ammo for a weapon is frustrating and rough, especially when you can't move forward without a certain weapon during the Wily stages.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna put him on hold then.
Besides, these are really small things in an otherwise perfect couple of games. Plus, Mega Man 3 adds Rush, Mega Man's canine sidekick, and Sliding, both of which are perfect additions to the level designs. Rush alone changes the mechanics of the game, inspiring you to use them to the best of your abilities. In terms of boss weapons, the Collector's Pack I'm playing added quicker hot swapping to all 3 versions of the game, and even added a turbo button, which made things pretty fun. I also should mention that the difficulty settings have been adjusted so that normal is actually harder than what you're used to. Pretty neat.
Whoa, they're calling back online too.
That said, these games are still super hard, even though they get easier as they go. And if you're a new gamer playing it now, you really gotta be dedicated not to get frustrated. You're going to die a lot before the day is done, but it's worth it to experience these great classics.
I think I'm just gonna stop paying attention to the imaginary phone now.
Enemy layouts and patterns in these games are incredibly specific. Each level design has perfectly placed enemies and hazards like pits and spikes. And while some Robot Masters do suffer from Spark Mandrill Syndrome,
I'm exploding.
It's never staggeringly easy. Robot Masters are brutal no matter how many times you fight them.
They just sent me a text. They like you again.
Every Mega Man game follows as such. After you defeat the 8 levels and their prospective Robot Masters, we then go to Wily's castle, where you must traverse through some of the more difficult platforming. And before you even fight Wily, you've got to fight the bosses again, a total of 16 Robot Masters. Obviously, you know how the first 2 games end, so with the 3rd game being our climactic focus, we know that Wily's finally good, and Mega Man is off trying to get some materials out of the clutches of some crazy robots. Until you get back and you realize Wily's stolen Gamma for himself and that he was evil all along.
Man, mean Dr. Wily.
You defeat him in battle and his castle starts to collapse. Proto Man, having finally found his way in life, shows up just in time to save Mega Man, but Dr. Wily seemingly perishes in the debris.
But wait! That's his UFO in the background, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
What the heck, man? They didn't want to just let us be surprised when he's back in the next game? I mean, Mega Man 3's Japanese subtitle is literally Mega Man 3, The End of Dr. Wily. They left me in suspense for a total of 2 seconds.
It's not really about the story.
Whatever, I gotta go recharge. Grab myself a smoothie.
From Wily stage to Wily stage, game to game, the various boss fights are manageable. Well, except for the Yellow Devil, which you might know from being recently featured in the Mega Man stage in Smash Bros.
He doesn't really look like the devil.
Oh, but he is, Greg. He is. I just can't freaking dodge him. If only I could slide in the first game, but I can't. I just keep getting hit. I do have some issues, personally. I do have an issue with some of these extra stages. Starting more specifically in Mega Man 3, there are 4 more extra stages sandwiched in between the 8 robot stages and the Wily Castle stages. They're certainly challenging, but I feel like they're designed for the wrong reasons. They feel like they're awkward padding, and it gets worse with the later games in the series. I can almost hear Capcom saying, "Hey, you almost beat this game, but first, do the super hard thing."
I didn't hear him say that at all.
Hey, you almost beat this game, but first do the super hard thing.
Oh, I heard it! That said, the end of the game does feel very awesome and retro, which I wouldn't trade for a more polished game. Again, guys, Mega Man. Like I've already repeatedly said, this game is tough as nails to beat, and if you're not an extremely hardcore retro gamer, you're going to rack up some serious deaths in the process. So, with that in mind, this game is super duper fair and fun, and I've always felt like I was advancing by learning rather than getting lucky. That's super rare in a game. Certain specific bosses, however, like the Yellow Devil in Mega Man 1, I felt were unfairly hard and made me mad at the game for forcing me to fight them. The Xbox collection makes some of this easier on me by adding power to my basic buster with the turbo button, which was neat and definitely lowered the difficulty. But if you're a first-time player, do yourself a favor and play it the way it was meant to be played. The Mega Man series is pretty old, so there isn't really a completion bonus aside from using the correct weapon to beat the correct boss.
Alright, here we go. Firestorm, Ice Slasher, Super Arm, Hyper Bomb, Thunder Beam, Rolling Cutter, Metal Blade, Time Stopper, Metal Blade, Air Shooter, Metal Blade, Bubble Lead, Metal Blade, Leaf Shield, Magnet Missile, Shadow Blade, Needle Cannon, Spark Shock, Hard Knuckle, Surge, Snake, Top Spin, Gemini Laser!
Now, in the event that the game is too hard for you, we've got a glitch that'll easily take care of any boss that stands in your way. Well, it isn't really a glitch, it's more of an exploit.
Exploits with Old Man Fexploits.
The original Mega Man has 2 extremely redundant pause buttons, one for switching weapons and one for regular pausing. The one for regular pausing is the select button, and the glitch, exploit is that some timers and frame data don't work properly while you press it. Watch closely. It works best with Rolling Cutter or Thunder Beam, but you can do it with pretty much anything. Fire a shot at the boss, and then pause the game just as you hit the boss. Wait a second or two, unpause the game, and it'll be like the boss gets hit again. Do this forever, and you win! Also, what name did you call me? Exploit? Fex off.
Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 are total classics in my book. They look great, they play great, and they sound great. Top marks across the board. However, these are older games, and there's not much content outside of the main story. So much of the game's length is created by staggering difficulty at parts. I've always had a love-hate relationship with the Wily stages, but with Mega Man 3 and on, they focused a lot on adding several stages before the Wily stages, which is ultimately padding out the game way longer than it needs to be. So with that in mind, guys, this game gets my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it! And after you finish them all, be sure to subscribe. If you missed laxative, if you missed last week's update video featuring Wyatt the Nerd's speed art animation for this video, give it a click right here. Or if you want to know what our top 10 games of 2014 were, give it a click right here. And of course, we've got our mega Spotify playlist over at thatonevideogamer.com. Back to you, Gerard.com.
That's all the time we've got for today, guys. So as always, please leave your thoughts somewhere on the internet. We have a really cool Reddit for the Completionist, our Completionist, if you're into Reddit. We got Tumblr, Instagram, Vine, Facebook, pancakes, waffles, sausages. I'm saying whatever Greg's saying right now. If you want to support the show, considering helping Pook. Great. If you want to support the show, considering helping us out on Patreon or giving us a tip in that tip jar located somewhere below or on our channel page. And if you're still here watching us, be sure to write #smoothies. Dude, the smoothie episode happened so long ago. Write what that episode is if you remember, if you're a hardcore Completionist fan.
Write it?
Now, if you excuse me, I'm just gonna take all the copies of this that are in the office and just I don't trust I'm taking... How many of these are here? How many All-Stars do we have? 5. There's 5 All-Stars. And we have 5 copies of this game. No. No, you don't get this. This is mine.
How many copies of Tales of Symphonia do we have?
Get the hell out of here, Mark.